Okay, so we'll start the session. So the last class we were discussing about the concept of branches, loops, as well as the nodes, right? I think yeah, we discussed clearly. The how to define the branches, nodes, and the loops, because for later part of circuit analysis, these concepts are important. Okay. So can someone tell me what is the meaning of branches?
Ma'am, the number of elements in the circuit.
Yeah, each circuit element constitute to a branch in a circuit. Okay. And what about nodes?
One is a point of connection.
Point of connection between two or more branches.
Yes, the common point where two or more branches connect together are called as nodes, and the loops are nothing but a closed part of the circuit. Okay, and we have also defined the series elements and parallel elements. So for two elements to be in series, they should have a node which is exclusively shared by those two branches. Okay, and it should not be part of any other branch. So in such case, we can tell that the elements are in series, and two or more elements are in parallel when they have both the nodes in common. Okay, so that's a fundamental definition for this nodes and branches. And I think this example we have already seen in the last class. So we have seen that there are 5 branches and 3 nodes for this. Yeah, 3 nodes for the first circuit, and the second circuit I gave it as a homework. Okay, so we have to identify how many branches and nodes and identify the elements that are in series as well as parallel. Okay, so here, how many branches are there?
4.
Yes, there are 4. Yes, there are 4 branches. Good. And how many nodes?
3.
Yes, there are 3 nodes. Okay, so one between this 10 volt and 5 ohm, that is one node. And where the 5 ohm, 6 ohm, and the 2 amperes are connecting together, that is another node. And below where, yes, yeah, all the 3 branches are connecting at one common point, and that is the third node. Okay, so this particular circuit has got 3 nodes. Okay. Now, which elements are in series?
10 volt and 5 ohm.
Yes, 10 volt and 5 ohm are in series because they are having one common node which only those two branches are exclusively sharing. Okay, and parallel elements?
6 ohm and 2 ampere.
Yes, 6 ohm and yes, 6 ohm and 2 ampere are in parallel. Okay. Okay, good. 6 ohm and 2 ampere are in parallel. And what about 10 volt and 6 ohm?
They are parallel. But
They
after
are parallel, not series.
10 volt and 6 ohm?
Neither parallel nor series.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they are neither parallel nor series.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, the combined combination of 10 volt and 5 ohm is in parallel with 6 ohm. But if I consider only 10 volt is neither in series nor in parallel with 6 ohm. Okay, because their nodes are not common. Okay, so that's about the nodes and branches. And today we will discuss the solution for the practice problem which I have given in the last class. Okay, so we will do one by one. Yeah, I'll call out some names. Those students can answer me. Okay. Okay, Madhumita, A. Madhumita.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can you tell me the power P1?
Yes, ma'am. It's minus 30 into 10, that is minus 300 watts.
Okay, minus 300 watts, and it is supplying power, right? Because
Yes.
the current is coming out of the positive terminal. Good. Okay. Okay, so this question was we have to find all the powers P1 up to P5, and we have to understand whether it is supplying power or absorbing the power. So P1 is supplying power, so it is minus 300 watt. Okay, next Achim Shetty Bharatwaj.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, what is P2?
It is 10 into 10, madam. 100,
Yeah,
100
10 into
watts.
10. Okay, is it absorbing power or supplying power?
It is supplying, madam.
It is not supplying. How do you determine whether it is supplying or absorbing?
Ma'am, if it is observing, it comes negative, madam.
Yeah, if the current is entering into the positive terminal, it is absorbing power, and if the current is coming out of the positive terminal, it is supplying power. That is a convention what we are following. Okay. So here the current is entering into the positive terminal, so it is an absorbing power. So it is 100 watt absorbed power. Okay. Okay. Aditi Ashish. Yeah. P3. What about P3?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Aditi. What is P3?
Ma'am, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. What is P3?
P3.
Can you hear me, Aditi?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Am
What
I
is
audible? Ma'am, it's P3. P is 20 into 14.
Yeah, is it absorbing power or supplied power?
No.
Okay, I think okay, I'm not able to hear properly.
Audible?
Okay, fine.
Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Your voice is breaking in between.
Yes, ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible. Yeah, is it an absorbing power? Absorbed power. Okay, good. Okay, so for P3, you can see that the current is entering into the positive terminal, so it is absorbing power, and the value of power is 280 watt. Okay, and P4, Akansha Ganesh. Akansha Ganesh. Okay, not answering. Ajinkya Singh. Okay. Akineni Bindu Madhav. Can you hear me? Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Bindu Madhav.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what is P4? See, this was a homework problem, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I gave it in the last week, yes. See, practice problems, I expect that you have to write it in your
Ma'am,
notebook.
4 into 8, ma'am.
Yeah, 4 into 8. See, not when I'm asking you to asking you the answer, okay? See, everyone, I told you, you have to divide your notebook into 2, and the practice problem you have to do it separately, so that whenever we whenever we solve it in the class, or whenever we discuss the solution in the class, I will call random students, and the students should be able to give the answer. Even if it is wrong, it is fine, but I expect that when I'm calling, you should give the answer. Okay, it's not like keeping silent. You have to give the answer whatever you have done. So please do the practice problem at home. Okay, hardly we will give you 1 or 2 practice problems in a day or in a class. Okay, so that will not take much time for you to solve, and this will definitely give you practice.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, always absorbed power will be equal to supplied power, ma'am. Like in this case, it's not coming.
For the circuit, for the complete circuit, the
Yes,
supplied
ma'am.
power will be equal
In
to
this
the
case,
absorbed
it's
power.
not coming, ma'am. After calculating P5, it will be like point something will come, ma'am.
Yeah, we will discuss that. We will discuss. It always balances. So always the supplied power will be equal to the absorbed.
Ma'am, it came.
It satisfies. That's what we will see one by one. Okay, what is P4? Akinani, Bindu, Madhav.
Yes, ma'am.
What is P4?
Ma'am, supply power.
Yeah, here you can see that the 4 ampere current is entering into the negative and it is coming out of the positive terminal. Okay, so if it is coming out of the positive terminal, it is supplying power. So it is 8 into 4 is minus 32 watt, which is a supplied power. Okay, yes, applied power. And what about P5? So P5 is the voltage is 12 volt and the current is 0.4 I. And what is I? I is 10 ampere as given in the circuit. Okay. So what is the value of P5?
Minus 48.
Minus 40.
Yes, it is minus 48 watt. Okay, it is minus 48 watt. So now there are many supplied powers and many absorbed powers, but always for the entire circuit, the supplied power will be equal to the absorbed power. Okay, or the total power in the circuit will be always 0. So for that, what we can do is we can compute the total supplied power. So the total supplied power is minus 300 watt plus minus 32 watt plus minus 48 watt, which comes to around minus
20.
it comes to minus 380 watt, right? All the supplied powers we have to add it together, so that comes to minus 380 watt. This is the supplied power, yes. And what about the absorbed power?
Same, ma'am. 380.
Yeah, it is 380. Yes. So the total power is the total power. If you sum up the supplied power and the absorbed power, the total power comes to 0. Okay. So we can tell that the minus supplied power is equal to plus absorbed power. Okay. So always the law of conservation of energy will be maintained in a circuit. So either we can check it in terms of supplied power and absorbed power, or if you can just simply sum up all the powers from P1 to P5, that will give us the total power of 0. Okay. Always this is balanced in a circuit. So never ever you will get a total power which is either greater than or less than 0. It will be always equal to 0. Okay. So if you have not...
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, this is regarding the attendance, ma'am. Ma'am, like I'm trying from a long time, I'm not able to open the form itself. It's happened even in the previous classes, ma'am.
See, there are two ways of taking attendance. I am downloading the Excel sheet separately, and I am giving you the attendance. So if you are not able to do it, you can just message me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I messaged you even in the previous classes. I don't know why it doesn't open for me itself.
If it is in the phone, sometimes it may not open.
But please, ma'am.
See, regarding attendance, you can personally, if you have any problem, you have to personally message me and not in the class. Okay. So attendance, anyway, there are two ways of checking out the attendance. So if at all, if you have any issues, you can message me personally, and parallelly, I will also check it in the Excel sheet, which I am downloading each time after the class. Okay. Yes.
Ma'am, I just missed the attendance by 2 minutes, ma'am. I just realized it right now.
See, that's what regarding the attendance, you have to personally message me and not during the class. So in between the class, if you are asking regarding the attendance, see, unnecessarily we will also waste time. Okay. So any queries regarding the attendance, you please message me. I will let you know what has to be done. Okay. Okay. So coming to the problem, so this was the practice problem. So if you have not got the exact answer, you can just make a note and take the corrections. Okay. Next, we will move on to the next basic laws which governs the circuit theory. Okay. So we have seen that Ohm's law basically gives the relation between the current and the voltage in a particular element. Okay. However, only by using Ohm's law it is very difficult to analyze any electrical circuit. So in that case, there are two powerful set of tools or powerful set of laws which basically can be used for circuit analysis. Okay. So one is called as Kirchhoff's current law and other is called as Kirchhoff's voltage law. Okay. And we will see one by one what the law states. So first we will discuss what is Kirchhoff's current law. Okay. So if there is a lag between what is appearing in the screen and what is appearing in my screen, I will just pause for some time. Okay. Yeah, it has appeared now. Okay, so first we will see what is Kirchhoff's current law. So if we consider a node in an electrical circuit, there will be many branches connected to the nodes. Okay, and the Kirchhoff's current law states that the algebraic sum of the currents entering a node, okay, is 0. Okay, the total currents which is flowing in the branches which is connected to the node will be 0. Okay, so if we consider a node as shown in the figure, and if you sum up all the currents, the total current should be equal to 0. Okay, and the convention for the current is current can be either entering into the node or it can be leaving the node. Okay, so we can take either the current entering the node as positive, and if that is the case, the current leaving will be taken as negative, or vice versa. Okay, however, the total current will be always equal to 0. So in this particular example, we can see that I1 is entering, I4 is entering, and I3 are entering, whereas I2 and I5 are leaving. Okay, so if you write it in the form of an equation as, we will get this equation. Okay, and the total current will be equal to 0. Okay, or otherwise it can also be understood as the sum of the current entering a node will be always equal to the sum of the currents leaving the node. Okay, so if we just equate the equation by bringing the negative terms to the other side, we will get it as I1 plus I3 plus I4 is equal to I2 plus I5. Okay, so either of these two equations we can use it for the Kirchhoff's current law. Okay. So this is one of the fundamental laws which we will be using for the circuit theory approach. It is very simple, so there is no much difficulty here. So if you are going with the first equation, we can either take the current entering to be positive and current leaving as negative, and you can just sum them together. So the total current will be equal to 0. Or we can write it in terms of the second equation. The sum of the current entering will be equal to the sum of current leaving a particular node. Okay. So this is basically the Kirchhoff's current law. And next we will see the second law, which is called as the Kirchhoff's voltage law. And one more thing. So when we have the current sources in parallel, okay, when we have current sources in parallel, without any resistive element, okay. So what we can do is we can equivalently represent them as a single source. Okay, we can equivalently represent them as a single source, and depending on the arrow mark of the current, we can decide whether it will be a positive current or it will be a leaving current. Okay. So for this particular case, the net arrow is taken upward. So in this case, I1 is pointing upward, whereas I2 is pointing downward, and I3 is again pointing upward. So the equivalent representation for this can be written as I1 minus I2 plus I3. Okay. So when current sources are parallel, the net current can be equivalently represented in this particular form. Okay. And there is one more thing which is very important. So in a particular branch, okay, there cannot be two different currents. Okay. So especially when elements are in series, the same current flows through all the series elements. Okay. The current cannot be differing when the current is flowing in a series branch. Okay. So otherwise what happens, KCL will be violated. So it is very important that you have to remember when two or more elements are in series, the same current flows through them. Okay. So this will be helpful in a later period, where especially when we are using the circuit analysis approach. Okay. So this is a very important note. When elements are in series, they will have the same current flowing through them.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, can you explain this point, ma'am? A circuit cannot contain two different currents, I1 and I2 in series unless I1 equals I2. Otherwise, KCL will be violated. That point, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Maybe with an example. So say for example, we are having a circuit element, two circuit elements. Maybe let us take this to be 10 volt and let us take this to be 5 ohm. Okay, so now these two branches are in series and they may be connected to the remaining part of the circuit. Okay. So here in this particular case, we are having 10 volt and 5 ohm in series. So it means that since they are in series, the current which is flowing through both the elements will be the same. Okay. So a circuit cannot contain two different currents, I1 and I2 in series. So if the current flowing through 5 ohm is, say for example, I1, then the same current I1 will also flow through this 10 volt when they are in series. Okay. That is the meaning of this point. It cannot be, one cannot be I1 and the other cannot be I2, and they cannot be different. So even if you use different notations, the current flowing through the series elements will be always the same. And this is applicable only when the elements are in series. Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And however, if you see the other two elements, they are in parallel. Okay, so in that case, the current flowing through each of the element will be different. Okay, so for the two resistors which are shown in parallel, they will not have the same current because they are in a parallel mode. However, if the elements are in series, they will definitely have the same current flowing through them. Okay.
Ma'am, what if there is a reverse current or something?
Reverse?
Current over there, flowing in
Where?
opposite direction through
Even
5
if the,
ohms resistor.
yeah, even if the current is flowing in the reverse direction, the same current will only flow through this 10 volt. So here, just as an assumption, I have taken the current to be flowing in this way, flowing from 10 volt to 5 ohm. But even if there is a reverse current flowing from 5 ohm to the 10 volt, even in that case, the same current will flow through both the elements because they are in series.
No, ma'am, I mean other I2 current or something like that, flowing in the opposite direction.
Where is it?
Now, if we make it I1 minus I2, so doesn't violate the KCL law over here?
No, I didn't get your question. I2, is it like you mean to say that I2 is flowing this way, the opposite direction, as
Yes,
what I'm
ma'am.
mentioning?
Opposite direction. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a minute. Say, for example, if you're, is this what you're meaning, what I'm drawing here?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah, if I2, say for example, if there is, instead of, see, I'm just giving a representation for I1 flowing from 10 volt to 5 volt. But as per your convention, if you're having an I2 current, which is flowing in the opposite direction, in that case also, see, I2 will be just negative of I1 because they are flowing in the opposite direction. But the same I2 will flow through 5 ohm and the 10 volt. In terms of direction, their directions are opposite. So we can tell that I2 is minus of I1, but the same I2 will flow through the 5 ohm as well as the 10 volt. Is that
Fine,
clear?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the basic thing is that when elements are in series, they have the same current flowing through. So maybe initially we will not know whether the current is, say for example, if there is more than one source, we do not know which source is dominating and which is supplying the current. Okay. So normally what we will do is we will give a random direction for the current. We will compute the value, and if the value of the current what we computed is positive, the assumed direction is correct. And if you are getting the value as negative, it means that the assumed direction is opposite to that of the actual thing. That's it. So the current can either flow in the way what I have shown, or it can flow in the opposite way if there is more than one source. But whatever be the case, the same current will flow through both the elements. Okay.
Mom?
Yes.
Mom, now here you have shown current sources in parallel, no, Mom?
Here, yes.
Mom, if we take two different current sources in series?
That is not possible. That's what we are telling. A series element cannot have more than two currents. It cannot have current sources with the two different values.
Mom, so we shouldn't connect a current source in series, Mom?
Yeah, two current sources in series will violate the KCL, and even if you're trying to connect, practically it will create problem.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so next we will move on to the next fundamental law of Kirchhoff's voltage law. Okay. So the Kirchhoff's voltage law states that the algebraic sum of all the voltages around a closed path or loop is 0. Okay. So if we consider a closed circuit in a loop, if you sum up all the voltages in that particular loop, the total voltage will sum up to 0. Okay. So here we are having a single loop circuit. There are 5 elements here. Okay. And the voltage polarities are already given. So if we just sum them together, then the total voltage will be equal to 0. And there are different ways of doing. So either you can go in the direction of the arrow mark, or you can mark a reverse arrow mark and go in the opposite direction. It is left to the student. Okay. So say for example, if the arrow mark is in the clockwise direction, we are actually going along the circuit in the clockwise direction. Okay. So in that case, the convention is that if you are coming out of positive terminal, we can take the voltage to be positive. Okay. So here for this example, what is given, we can write the equation as V1. Okay, we are coming out of the positive terminal. Then for the second element, it is minus V2 because we are coming out of the negative terminal. Third element, it is minus V3. Fourth element, it is plus V4. And for the fifth element, it is minus V5. So altogether, this will be equal to 0. So different textbooks follow different methods. Sometimes they will go with the they will go with the polarity of the entering part. Okay. In the sense that the same equation can also be written as minus V1 plus V2 plus V3 minus V4 plus V5.
Ma'am, it's the same if you multiply minus on the both sides, right?
Yeah, that is equal. So we need not bother. Okay, so it is left to the student to take either the polarity of polarity where we are coming out, or to take into account the polarity when we are entering that particular branch. But do not confuse both. Okay. So here the convention what I am following is that the polarity from where we are coming out of that particular element, I have taken that polarity. So the equation is plus V1 minus V2 minus V3 plus V4 minus V5, that will be equal to 0. And if we equate the positive and the negative by taking the negative terms on the other side, we get it as V2 plus V3 plus V5 is equal to V1 plus V4.
Ma'am, you
Tells
can
that,
take the entering polarity also.
sorry?
You can take the entering polarity like minus V1 plus V2.
Yeah, it is left to the student to take that way. So this is the convention what I am following. You can also go with the polarity by where you are entering into that particular circuit element. But however, the final terms will be equal in the sense that the sum of the voltage drop will be equal to the sum of voltage rise. Normally,
will they mention particularly to take this type of convention only?
Normally, they will not mention whether you have to go with this convention or the other opposite convention. It is left to the student. Because in the same textbook, I think they are following the other convention, but I find this to be convenient to me, and that's the reason why I follow this particular method. I go with the polarity from where I am exiting the particular circuit element. Okay. So altogether, yes, altogether it means that the sum of voltage drop will be equal to the sum of voltage rise. Normally, if you go from minus to plus, there is a voltage rise, and if you go from plus to minus, there is a voltage drop. Okay. So if we go from a negative potential to a positive potential, so say for example, for this particular circuit, actually we are going in the clockwise direction. So in that case, for V1, if you see, we are going from minus to plus. So there is a rise in potential. Whereas for the second element, we are going from plus to minus. So there is a drop in the potential. Okay. And for a complete circuit, the sum of voltage drop will be always equal to the sum of voltage rises, as what is given in the previous equation. So always for a circuit, this particular thing will be satisfied, or it will be balanced. Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is KVL, and yes. So we will also consider voltage sources in series with each other. So when we are having two or more voltage sources in series, they can be added together and represented as a single voltage source. For especially when we do analysis, okay. So equivalently, this can be represented as V1 plus V2 minus V3. So the reference potential is A is at positive and B is at negative. So with that convention, for V1 and V2, we have positive polarity on the top. So it is V1 plus V2 minus V3. So this is the equivalent representation when voltage sources are in series. Okay. So we can add the voltage sources when they are connected in series. And a very important note with respect to KVL is that a circuit cannot contain two different voltage sources V1 and V2 in parallel unless both are same. Okay. So the meaning of this is it cannot have two voltage sources in parallel with the two different values. So say for example, here we are having V1 and here we are having V2. So if they are in parallel with respect to each other, it means that V1 should be equal to V2. So practically also we cannot connect, it will create problem, and theoretically also V1 cannot be equal to, V1 should be equal to V2, it cannot be different when they are in parallel to each other. Okay. Because we have seen that when elements are in parallel, they will be having the same voltage across them. So it means that even if you are connecting two voltage sources, their voltages should be equal. Otherwise, it will violate KVL. So for analysis purpose also, we cannot have two voltage sources with two different values. It will be equal. Is that clear? So now we have seen the two fundamental laws for circuit analysis. One is called as the Kirchhoff's current law and the other is called as the Kirchhoff's voltage law. So if you are thorough with this laws, then we can do any type of circuit analysis, basic circuit analysis. Okay, and we will see how to do a circuit analysis for a simple numerical. Okay, so let us consider a circuit which is given in the diagram, and for this circuit we are going to find what is Vx and what is V0. Okay, so take down this numerical. So we will apply the basic KVL or KCL and analyze this circuit and find what is Vx and V0. Okay. Maybe you would have already learned with independent sources, but for this particular semester, we have to deal with dependent sources also. So most of the circuits will also have dependent sources. Okay. So just by applying KCL and KVL, we will see how to analyze the circuit and determine the unknown terms. Okay, so shall we start doing it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Fine. Yeah. So here already we have there are two sources. One is an independent source and other is a dependent source. Okay. In addition, we are having two resistive elements. Okay. And for the resistive elements, already they have given the potential across them. Okay. That is one thing. But normally, when we are applying this Kirchhoff's voltage law, especially, okay, so here all the elements are in series, so it is convenient to use Kirchhoff's voltage law. Okay, so now whenever we are using Kirchhoff's voltage law, it is always convenient to represent a current flowing in a closed circuit. Okay, so if we consider a closed circuit, we know that if there is a single loop, then all the elements will have the same current flowing through them. Okay, so let us take it as I. Okay, so let us take it as I. Now, the basic convention what we have to remember is that If you are having sources, it is fine. But if you are having any passive elements like resistors or inductors or capacitors, okay, what we have to do is, the convention what we have to follow is, when we are considering the voltage drop across any passive element like a resistor, okay, these elements are passive in nature, in the sense that they cannot generate any energy of its own. It will always absorb the energy. Okay, so it means that there will be definitely a drop in potential when we pass through this passive element. That is a normal convention we have to follow. Okay, here, forget about the convention what they have already mentioned. Okay, but always whenever a current flows through a passive element like a resistor, always there will be a voltage drop, because resistors will always dissipate the energy. So always there will be a drop in potential. Okay, so we have to always keep this in mind whenever we write any equation. Okay, so now with that particular convention, if you are following, how do we write the KVL equation for this particular loop is, okay, and as I told you, I'm following the convention that I will take into account the polarity from where I am leaving that particular element. Okay, because I'm convenient with this particular thing, that's the reason why I'm used to this. So I will just follow that particular convention. So students who are following the other convention, you can do it in your own way. There is, it's not a problem at all. But if you want, you can adapt to this one also. Okay. So for this particular circuit, let us write the KVL equation. Okay. So for the first term, it is 70 volt because we are coming out of this positive terminal. And for this 10 ohm, it is a passive element. Okay. And the current flowing through that is I. So whenever we come out of this resistance, there will be definitely a voltage drop. Okay, so the voltage drop in the sense that the terminal where we are entering will be positive and the terminal where we are leaving will be negative. So it will be minus 10I. And for the dependent source, again we are coming out of the negative terminal, so it is minus 2Vx. And for the fourth element, you see, forget about the convention, whatever they have already given. The current is entering into the 5 ohm and it is coming out. So there will be definitely a voltage drop. So it is minus 5I is equal to 0. So that will be the first equation. Okay. So I will repeat again. We are marking the current direction because all the elements are in series. So the same current will flow through all the elements. Let the current be I. Okay. And the convention is that we have to go in one particular direction. And the polarity of each element, the polarity of each voltage will be the polarity from where we are coming out of that particular element. So for the first element, we are coming out of positive terminal, so it is plus 70 volt. And for the second element, it is a passive element, so always there will be a voltage drop. So we can take it as minus 10I. For the source, polarity is already there. We are coming out of the negative terminal, so it is minus 2Vx. And for the fourth element, which is 5 ohm, there will be a drop when the current is flowing through that. So it means that it is minus 5I and that is equal to 0. So this is the first equation.
Ma'am?
Yes.
In 5 ohm from positive it is coming now.
See, that's what I am not following the convention what is given already. I am just going with the direction of the current. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am, but what you took also, like the minus 5i should not come. It should be plus 5i according to your.
Yes, ma'am, plus 5i.
Just a minute. See here, for 10 ohm, yeah, I will use one more color. Yes. See, for a 10 ohm, when the current is flowing through this 10 ohm, there will be a voltage drop. So it means that this will be plus and this will be minus, right? When the current is flowing through this direction, there will be always a voltage drop. So it means that this will be plus and this will be minus. Okay. Now coming to the 5 ohm, when the current is flowing in this way, okay, as per the current I, when the current is flowing in this direction, this should be plus and this should be minus, right? Only then there is a voltage drop. However, the voltage drop convention what they have given already in the circuit is opposite to that of the convention what we are following, that we can take care in the equation. But as per the basic concept, there will be always a voltage drop across any passive element. So when a current is flowing in this direction, always there is a voltage drop. So it means that this has to be plus and this has to be minus. However, the reference what they have given is opposite to that of what we are following, that we can take care in the equation. But when we are writing the first equation, it is minus 5i, because there is a voltage drop when we pass through this particular 5 ohm.
Ma'am, so for passive element, the polarity, the given polarity doesn't matter.
Yeah, the given polarity is actually opposite. So that we will write it in the next equation.
Okay.
Okay. So here we got a first equation, but if you see this equation, it's a single equation, but it has got two variables, I and Vx. So a single equation with two unknowns we cannot solve. So we have to write few more equations, or at least one more equation, so that we can replace one of the variable. Okay. Now, if you see this particular circuit, we have Vx. So what is Vx? Vx is the voltage drop across this 10 ohm, right? Vx is the voltage drop across this 10 ohm, and that is equal. That is exactly in the same polarity as what we are assuming when the current is flowing through that particular element. So we can write Vx is equal to 10I. Right? The given reference polarity and the polarity what we are assuming when we consider the voltage drop, both are same. So we can write Vx is equal to 10I. Okay. And coming to 5 ohm, the reference polarity and our assumed polarity are both in the opposite direction. So we can write V0 is equal to minus 5I. It is opposite to that of what we are following when we flow in the direction of the current.
Ma'am, can you tell how you got that polarity for 5 ohm again?
So see, initially when the current is flowing, actually it is flowing in this particular direction, right? Okay, it is flowing in this particular direction. So it means that whenever there is a current flowing across the resistor, there will be always a voltage drop. So at the point where it is entering, it is plus, and at the point where it is coming out, it should be minus, as per the concept, because always there will be a voltage drop. But here they are giving a convention which is opposite to that of what we are following. Okay, so it means that we can write V0 is, their assumed polarity is opposite to that of the convention what we are following. So in the third equation we are writing V0 is equal to minus 5I. Whereas for the 10 ohm, the given reference polarity and the polarity what we are using, both are same, right? So if you see this 10 ohm, okay, for the 10 ohm, their polarity, that plus minus Vx, the polarity what they are using for that Vx, and the polarity what we are following, both are same. So Vx is equal to 10I. Whereas for the second case, the polarity, the reference polarity what they have given is opposite to that of the convention what we are following. So we are writing V0 is equal to minus 5I. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now what we can do is we can, yes.
For Vx you took plus 10I, but for V0 why minus 5I?
Sorry?
For Vx you took plus 10I, ma'am. But for V0 why did you didn't take 5I instead of minus 5?
That's what I'm telling, no? See, first is that I am going in a particular direction. For that, for a resistive element, always there will be a voltage drop. That is a convention what we are following. So when we are entering into a positive, when we are entering into a resistor, that polarity is taken as plus, and the point from where we are coming out, we take it as negative, because always there is a voltage drop. Okay. The same thing when we consider for this 5 ohm also, we are entering into the 5 ohm, so that terminal is taken as positive, and we are coming out of the resistor, and that particular terminal is taken as negative for the 5 ohm resistor. Okay. For the 5 ohm. But now you see the reference polarity what they have given. for the 10 ohm, their reference polarity is exactly the same as the polarity what we are following. Whereas for the 5 ohm, their polarity and the polarity what we are following are opposite, right? If you see this diagram, for the 5 ohm, we are entering into the positive and we are coming out of the negative as per our convention. But the polarity what they have given is exactly opposite to that of that. Are you able to understand? So V0 is minus 5i, whereas Vx is plus 10i. Vx is exactly the same polarity as what we are following. So we write Vx as 10i, whereas for V0, their polarity is, convention is opposite to that of the convention what we are following. So we are writing V0 as minus 5i. Are you able to follow? You see the polarity, okay? With respect to the polarity, I am telling. Okay, so now, okay, it's already time. We'll just finish this. So if you see the first equation, now we can eliminate Vx by substituting the second equation into the first equation, right? So that we will have a single equation with single unknown. So what if we, yes, what if we substitute equation number 2 in equation number 1?
I is equal to 2, ma'am.
So Vx is 10i, so 2 Vx is 20i, so I will be 2 ampere. So I will be 2 ampere. So what is Vx now? If I is 2 ampere, Vx is
20.
Yes, yes, Vx is 20 volt and V0 is
Minus 10 volt.
Yes, 10 volt.
Yes, minus 10 volt. Okay, so see in the equation V0 has this particular polarity, but the answer what we are getting is negative. So it means that the polarity what they have given is not correct. It has to be the opposite. That's how we have to understand. Okay, so if you are getting the same positive answer, it means that the reference convention is the same as what we are following. If you are getting a negative answer, it means that the reference convention what they have given is not correct. It has to be the other way. That's it. We need not worry about at the beginning whether it is correct or not. Okay, so we have to fix the direction of current and go in the direction of current, and whenever there is a resistance, always take it as a voltage drop. Okay, and later if they are giving a convention which is opposite to that of ours, we can write it in that equation and we can solve it. Okay, so here we are getting V0 as minus 10 volt, which tells clearly that the reference convention what they have given in the circuit is supposed to be actually in the opposite direction. Okay, but since V0 is already fixed and given in the numerical, we can write V0 as minus 10 volt. Okay, so I hope it is clear. If you still have doubts, you can ask me. Okay, but I think it's already time. We have to wind up the session. So I'll just download that and let's